Welcome back, everybody. So glad you could be with me here today. Walter here at the workbench, sharpening my marking knife, which has a disposable blade in it. How many of you resharpen your disposable blades? Cheapskates. We're all cheapskates. We want to get every penny we can out of a disposable tool. So, I hope you're having a good day. I see a few of you watched my video on my plastic shelving unit. Didn't get too much attention with my title, Sagging Shelves, but it's a real thing that I have to deal with. So today I had every intention to demonstrate the Taylor Toolworks scraper blade sharpening system. However, that's sharp enough. They give you a lot of stuff. You've got a beautiful scraper, a scraper magnet, which helps keep your thumbs cool. You get the Accu-Burr. You get these two metal shims, which I know what they're for, but I'll explain something in a minute. There was a packing list, and they give you a nice file for filing your scraper down, straight and square. You've got a cushion for your piece of plate glass, which is where you're going to affix your pressure sensitive abrasives for polishing the edge of your scraper. And there is a paper saying all about the abrasives. But here comes the but. There's one thing missing. No instructions. So I suppose I have to go online and watch a few videos and get my instruction. So in the meantime, as not to disappoint you all, I mean, they give you, there's some magnets, some carriage bolts, and washers, all necessary for the assembly of the jig. So we're going to have to leave that up in the air. However, if I go over in my shelf, oh, let's see. What do I have? I have my old Sandvik. I've got some curved 2 cherries. I thought I had more, but we're going to go with this. Now, I know part of the premise of the Taylor Toolworks system is a method by which you can hold your card scraper square to your abrasive. All right, this happens to be a diamond plate, and then polish it until you get rid of all the inaccuracies. So what I'm going to do is I have a file, and I have this stone. It's reasonably flat. I am going to try the Accu-Burr without all the other fancy doodads. So, take your file, you file it square and straight. Now, if you want to know for sure that you're filing square and straight, hit the edge with a Sharpie marker. What would we do without Sharpie markers? Speaking of marking instruments, I was at the hardware store and they gave me a pencil. It's a big fat pencil, so it's a carpenter's pencil. And I tried sharpening it, and the lead's all broken inside, and so I already lost that much of it, and the lead is quite hard. So it's a little less than useful to me. So you hold your file square to your edge. All the Sharpie markers gone, and you really shouldn't do this on your workbench, but it's how everybody does it. And then we'll do the other edge. Be nice to put it square in the vise. We'll do this one too. So I hope you're having a good day. Did I say that already? I may have. And there you go. Done with the file. Now, at this point, that will already scrape wood. It's not going to be super fine, but there is a slight burr on that, and it will scrape wood. Okay, somewhat fine shavings though. So the next step is to, oh, I shouldn't have to do that. I could just put it up against the stop here. The next step is to, number one, get rid of that burr. And we'll do that with the ruler technique. We'll lay the ruler down on one edge of the diamond plate, go all the way over to the other edge of the diamond plate, and we'll go back and forth just a couple of times And if you want, you can use something to press down on it. So you're getting full engagement. Okay, that burr is gone. Okay, so now if I were to take that to the wood again, I'm not getting any shavings. There's no burr. So the next step is to hone this edge. Hold it straight to your stone, and you hone the edge. And yes, I'm not using any fluid. I'm doing this dry. And you want to get rid of any scratches or any mill marks from the file. And if you notice, I'm at an angle so that I don't put a groove in the diamond plate. So that edge is clean. Almost. All right, so once again now we've raised a slight burr there already. Now comes the click-clack, the clickety-clack. You take your burnisher, and you really should have a little bit of oil on the burnisher, on the steel. And what you want to do now is you want to draw out the steel on that edge. All right, I'm flat, drawing that out. And I'm coming down ever so slightly. What you're doing is you are conditioning, you're conditioning the steel by drawing it out on that edge. So there. Once again, it is no burr. It's not going to cut. You're not going to get anything off of it. So this is where I would normally and we're going to do two different edges. This is the top edge, and this is where I would normally take my burnisher and going square to it, I would just start out light and I would just condition that metal. And then I would kick it this way just a little. And then I would kick it this way just a little. And that's how I was taught to do it. Does it work? So, getting curls. So that's that edge. Now, knowing very little about the Accu-Burr, and how it's used, it has 3 precision ground tapers, double-sided tapers. Sort of a bow tie. All right. So I don't want to ruin that edge. So I'm going to assume you can use either of the 3, but we're going to start with the first one. You feel for the bottom of that first V and you draw it across. Find the bottom of that V and you draw it across. And mind you, this Sandvik is a very hard steel. This is the Accu-Burr side. We're going to put an A over here. And it is cutting in just those few strokes. And what's interesting is those curls on quarter sawn oak. What's interesting in my book is I'm getting both edges burnished at the same time. So what happens if we move to the middle one? Getting more grabby. Feels more like a hand plane now. One more try. We're going to go to the final groove. And that's 1 pass, 2 pass, 3 passes. Wow, I can feel that. I can feel that burr. That's almost too much. Those look like planer shavings, don't they? So that's the Accu-Burr. And when I figure out the instructions for the rest of the burnisher setup kit, I'll get back to you. And how does that compare to my side? That's my side. That's the Accuber side. Same difference. The difference I see is at the speed in which you create that edge. I hope this was helpful to you. A little bit long, but I wanted to cover it start to finish. So I'll leave a link for the Accuber from Taylor Toolworks down in the description box. I wish I had my lathe because I'd make myself some bigger handles for it. Like, subscribe, and share. Walter out.